Greetings, Commanders! My name is Eagle, and welcome back to another Warpath video. This video is going to be the start of a series where we're going to be talking about officers. We're going to be doing a lot of new videos about officers, their synergies, their compositions, and explaining each one, which skills to use, which skills to upgrade first, and which officers work best together. This video is just going to be a quick tutorial about officer positioning, giving you some tips and tricks about how positioning an officer into a leader position or a secondary position might actually give you a huge damage boost in the fight and change the course of the whole battlefield. That's why this is a massive thing to know. I didn't know this at start. Now I know this. I will not make this mistake again. But this video is just going to be the beginning of a series. We're going to start off with some beginner guides and then move on to more advanced topics as we go through these video series. So if you do like these videos, please do consider subscribing down there and maybe drawing us a like. It will definitely help out grow this channel. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Whenever you're trying to select officers to be the leading officers or the secondary officers in your specific unit march, you will be able to see these specific buffs that are over here. Now, there are two things to consider whenever you're trying to select an officer as a leader. These two things determine whether that specific officer should be the leader of that march or not. The first thing is the obvious, which is basically the boosts that you will be able to gain as an officer that is leader. Now, these boosts over here, we can clearly see them if we go to the officer screen. We can see right next to the level, there's a firepower boost and there's a durability boost. Now, these boosts increase with the officer level, so the higher the level, the more bonuses you'll be able to gain from these boosts. In addition to that, once you reach to the final level, which is the max level, level 60, you'll be able to gain 30% firepower increase and 30% durability increase. That means there's a specific rule over here. You should put the highest level officer in your leading position. Well, that is true to a certain extent, because there's another thing that you have to take into consideration when you're doing this thing. Now, the other thing is actually the officer's skills. The leading officer will be able to fire up their skills before the secondary officer, which means that whenever their skills or their active skills have anything to do with firepower buffs, stats buffs in general, that means that the secondary officer, whenever they try and use their skills, they'll be able to gain that as well. Now, let me give you an example on that, because sometimes this can be a little bit tricky. If you take a look at Percy over here and we go to her active skill, now this skill over here, what it does is does some damage coefficient, but it also does a firepower increase for 8 seconds. Meaning that any other skill that will be used after this skill will be able to gain an 8% increase in firepower, as if the units had that bonus from the start. However, if we place the other unit, which means that Percy will be the secondary officer, we will not be able to gain that specific bonus when the secondary unit fires its skill. The reason being is that Percy will be firing this after that specific skill is fired, which means that she will not be able to gain the bonus right next, right that second. However, this also means that these officers, like for example, if we have Percy and Antonia or Antonina over here, both in the specific march, then that means that Percy should be the first, like the leader of the march, and Antonina should be the secondary. However, that is not true, because the difference in level over here right now in this specific example is massive, and that means that we should go with the level. So you should always do this take this into consideration, that which officers to level up first and which officers to have as your leaders, so that you would gain the maximum amount of bonuses, so that once you fire up your skills, you'll be able to deflect the highest amounts of damage and deal the highest amounts of damage to your enemies. Now, keep these two things into consideration. We will definitely be covering a lot more videos about this topic, talking about the best combination of officers, which officers to use first and which officers to use second for any unit type. These videos are coming up, so make sure to get that subscribe button down there so that you would know exactly when these videos come up and you will know all about officer combinations. Thank you so much for watching this quick tutorial, and we'll definitely see you on the next video.